Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to Apex Racing TV's presentation of the Radical Esports Cup. And we are so happy to be back here using the time machine to reach 2025 Season 1. This is J.R. Gregory with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, a slightly under the weather, but still perky Aaron Smith. And in the production carrier, our friend and colleague, Joshua Wilkie. And the star of today's show, the Radical SR10, one of the purest sports car experiences on iRacing, propelled by a 450 horsepower Ford EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo and tipping the scales at a full 1,000 pounds lighter than an MX-5 Cup car. No traction control, no anti-lock brakes. The SR10 can be a handful, but mastering this car will make you better at every car that you drive. And folks, we are showing the top split of the public server here today, 2100 GMT, as we do every Friday. So this is not a private event. This is not a league event. If you'd like to give these radicals a whirl, show up, sign up, and if you make the top split, you can appear here on Apex Racing TV with some of the best radical drivers in the world. And my goodness, heading into this initial season of 2025, the schedule is fantastic. The radical community voting on this schedule and kind of branching out into some tracks that we haven't seen before, starting with this one. But we've got after this one, we've got Zolder, Spa, Snetterton, Gilles Villeneuve, Daytona Road Course, Phillip Island, Okayama, Brands Hatch, Catalunya, Long Beach Grand Prix. I got a big star by that one. And of course, the Nordschleife. So a fantastic schedule. It is very early in the season, plenty of time left to jump in. And I would urge you to join us if you have any interest at all in this fantastic car. But as I said, 2025 Season 1 opener here at Mugello. It was built in 1974 in the beautiful Tuscany region of Italy. And this is a pretty new scan, as you can see on your screen there. It is a beautiful scan in the rolling hills of northern Italy. But road racing in this area actually dates back about 100 years to the 1920s. This track is past host to FIA GT, Formula One, and World Superbikes, current host to European Le Mans Series and a number of Moto Series. Today's config, 3.2 miles, 5.2 clicks, 15 corners, and the track record is a 1:18.8 by Lewis Hamilton in a W11. AMG Mercedes-Benz F1 car. So, Aaron, man, oh man, Mugello is one of the fantastic new tracks that have popped up on the schedule this season. And I may have talked a little bit too long. It looks like we're going to grid up here, but my opening thoughts on this is this track is all about track limits. This track is not between the white lines, not even close. You have to know what curbs to cut, where you can go wide on exit, and it takes a great deal of learning and familiarity to get there. So that's what I'm looking for on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Mugello's a track that you just have to push yourself and the car to the absolute limit. And even though it's a fairly short lap time, all things considered, it's quite a big gap between the whole field. So I think we could get some really good racing, but it might split off into different sections of the field.
All right, very good. So we're going to go ahead and fly through your grid right now. We got Diego Perez, a new name to me, on pole. Friedrich will be next to him. Lasse Sorensen next to James Berry in row 2. Then it's going to be Anderson next to Kim Andre Bjorklund. Behind them, Schultz and Christoph Lipp, one of our resident aliens. In 9 and 10, it's Nagel and Crowley. 11 and 12, Braun and Brilu. Samir Kadura will be next to George Gonzaga in 13 and 14. Larson will be next to Wayne McNichol in 15 and 16. Hulkinen will be bringing up the rear in P17. So looks like I flew through that, perhaps needlessly, still missing a couple of cars. So we're going to wait for those cars to grid up. iRacing is going to force the start in about 30 seconds if those cars don't show up. And looking down, that is going to be Perez there in the number 1 car. And if I can orient myself, yeah, he's going to have the inside line into that slow, low-speed first right-hander to start lap 1 here off of a standing start and on marginally cold tires, not as cold as they used to be. So, yeah, Aaron, looking forward to this one. Mugello is not a track where a lot of people are going to have a lot of time. A lot of people are still in the learning process. And here we go. The lights are up and we are green. Looks like Perez going to get away pretty clean. He's got Friedrich next to him, though, a pretty strong starter. But Perez is going to hold him off for the time being. Now Friedrich is going to take a little peek. He's going to peek around the outside here of turn 1. And we're going to have a lot of side-by-side in turn 1. There's a million lines through here. Long sweeping corner. And just beginning to see here, as I said, a lot of long sweepers on this track, and it's really going to tax the front tires on these radicals. There are places where you can use trail braking and take some pressure off of the front tires, and there are places where you absolutely cannot. So when I was out here earlier, there was a chorus of screaming, unhappy, very hot front tires.
Yeah, you're just dragging the car through each and every corner, and this car tends to go towards understeer, as plenty of us know. It's very, very racy at the back. Couple bits of contact we saw through the first few corners as well. And don't forget as well that iRacing have added their new debrief system with gravel, so that should be interesting to see how that evolves over the coming laps, and see if it catches any drivers out. As Kadura going for a dive, there seems to be a lockup up front, but Kadura going for the move, and there's a bit of contact there with Hulkinen, and he sent him straight off, and so has McCoyle. He's gone right off as well. I wonder who locks up in front. But, well, they're spreading gravel all over the track, as you can see. And, well, the guys coming through over the next lap are going to have to deal with that through a very, very fast corner.
Yeah, an excellent point on the gravel. And this place, particularly Mugello, is a big motorcycle track. So more gravel than at a lot of places. And you can see it on the outside of nearly every corner. But as we finish lap 1 up front, it's going to be Perez from Friedrich from Sorensen. And let's take a look at Kadura here. Kadura taking a bit of a dive, trying to stuff it down inside of Hulkinen. Hulkinen tries to drive through him there. And my goodness, I mean, it looked like Kadura had that move done, and I may have to put that one on Hulkinen for not backing out of it once he was beaten through that corner.
Yeah, I've got to be honest as well. He hit him right up the back and sent him round. But that happens in racing. It's a very innocent thing to do. Has got a bit of a ding-donging here for 9th, 10th and 11th as Crowley, Braun and Nagel and Brilu now getting involved in that battle as well. And this is kind of what I was predicting. There's going to be a lot of fighting, but it's just going to section off into different parts of the field as Nagel desperately trying to defend from Brilu, as he's kind of I think he might have had a bit of an incident with Braun and Crowley since he was fighting with them, and now is about a second and a half off. So he's got to be a bit careful not to fall into the clutches of the cars behind, but he seems to have gotten his mojo back, at least for now. And coming through the last few sectors here at Mugello, it really is a nice track to hot lap, and the gravel there, you can see that just pushing it onto the track, and it does make the car just that little bit more slippery. Luckily, it's on the exit of the corner, so they don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, it's still going to be a bit of a factor if a couple drivers have a few more incidents in this race.
Yeah, super interesting new feature as iRacing always striving to make our experience here on the service more realistic. We're taking a look at Friedrich right here. Sorensen all over him. Big draft on this front straightaway. And Sorensen's going to try the outside as Friedrich will cover the inside. And can he speed him around? And he does. Late breaks him around the outside. Friedrich not giving up easily, but Sorensen getting that move done. And I was on track with Lasse Sorensen in the race previous to this, and he was flying well down into the 142s during that race. So Sorensen has got a lot of pace here. And as I said, a fairly new track. So this is not a track like Spa or some of the other frequent flyer tracks where we're going to have drivers with thousands of laps out here. Everybody's all kind of learning it together. And you can see it by the different lines being taken. Looking back at Schultz here, looking back at Anderson. Anderson doing a good job using all of the track there well into the green, but that is not an off. That is part of the line. And again, that is part of learning this course. Very challenging.
It just seems to be like that with a lot of tracks on iRacing. You know, you think you've got an off track, and then you don't, and then sometimes you think, oh, I'm fine, I'll get away with no off track, and then you get one. It's quite weird. And Tuscany here at Mugello definitely is one of the bigger tracks for just abusing the curbs and the white lines. It's we were talking about it before we got going, that genuinely it can cost you a few tenths per corner if you're not maximizing the outside and inside of the track. And that's the big difference between a lot of drivers just not having the confidence to really push themselves and the car consistently lap after lap, and some drivers just choosing to go a little bit safer and hoping that they can just get to the end instead. As wow, Sorensen really is flying. Blimey, he might even go for the lead here if he's feeling risky enough. He's very close to the back of Perez, but I think he just wasn't close enough, and he's bringing Friedrich along with him, who's thought about a move for P2, but I think even Friedrich can tell that he doesn't really have the pace to match the front two at the moment. And Sorensen really is flying, albeit with a bit of slipstream. There's a bit of contact there. Well, that was Gonzaga running straight into the back of Brailu and getting a bit caught out there, and not expecting Brailu to slow down as much as he did.
Yeah, and my goodness, a pretty good spread of iRatings out here today, and a pretty broad separation in pace, as you were noting earlier, Aaron. We're going to take a look at Gonzaga here, trying to stick it through, and yeah, the purple car there just going a little slower across the apex than Gonzaga was anticipating, resulting in that contact. But yeah, interesting, and about the risk taking on the curbs there, and I wanted to add, you see one right there. There are a lot of these curbs that have the green pavement on the inside, outside the white line, and that's like right there. That is inbounds, and on some of the corners, particularly the couple of sequences of chicanes early in the lap, there are also those perpendicular yellow curves, and in a GT3 car you drive right over them no problem. Radicals don't like running over curbs that much, so there's going to be a cost benefit as these drivers are deciding how much of that curb they want to, how much of the corner they want to cut. Yes, it's inbounds, but there is one of those yellow bumps in there, and can toss these radicals around. Although I will say that the suspension has softened up a bit on this fixed setup from last season.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that typically in these higher downforce cars, you do tend to run quite stiff, which does make using curbs practically impossible. Whereas in something like a GT3 or that kind of category of car, you can get away with abusing those curbs. But yeah, those yellow sausage curbs, mainly here in Sector 1, can really catch you out if you're just taking a fraction too much of the corner. oh god, you're going to be sent flying into the air. And, well, if you're unlucky enough, it can actually blow up your engine. I've had that happen to me a few times, mainly in a Porsche. You know, you get sent into the air and you come back down and your engine spontaneously combusts. But he's Mika Hulkinen heading into turn 1. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle and just loses the car. Seems he just went a little bit too ambitious into turn 1. And some has potentially happened to Gonzaga. He's not really had a good race. Has the Portuguese man. Into turn 1 we go. Oh, just a slight kick from the rear end. And yeah, well, our producer just pointed out that there might have been some dirt there, and I'm thinking the same, because that did look a bit strange. Going through turn 1 there, it looked all calm and collected, and then all of a sudden the rear just completely stepped out. So very curious what happened to him there, but yeah, he's really not having a good time in this first round of this season. But hey ho, still another 11 races to go. I don't think he's going to be worrying about that too much. And well, here we go then, lap 6 of 14, and just nearly halfway through this race. The slipstream is playing a big part in this race so far. I think Perez probably would be pulling away, at least more than he is now, as Braun just about defending from Anderson. I think Anderson wanted to go for that move and is still trying it, but it's just not going to work around the outside of turn 3.
Yeah, some great camera work there, and Ian Anderson trying to flout his speed there on the inside entry to turn 1, and Jethro Tull fans will understand that, and there probably aren't any, so wasted my breath on that one. But here we are, Anderson looking forward at Heinz Braun, and Heinz Braun, a really good use of that green stuff there by Anderson. He knows where the track limits are. Those are not offs again. But yeah, Heinz Braun, very, very tough defender, very tough to get it past him. But Anderson almost got it done there on turn 1, but Anderson fought him off, or Heinz Braun fought him off.
Well, we know how defensive and aggressive Heinz Braun can be, and it's, well, for better or worse, it's always entertaining. So we've got that going for us, as Gonzaga seems to have got into the pits, as Bjorkland loses the place to Schultz as well. That's for P5. And I think he just went a little bit wide at turn, I believe that's turn 12. And might have just gotten a bit too deep on the brakes for his liking, and maybe a bit scared by Schultz in his rearview mirror as heading into turn 12 now. And yeah, I think he definitely was focusing way too much on Emil in his rearview mirror, and well, he's let him go. Or maybe it was a strategic thing. Yeah, you can go and I'll pass you again on the main straight, as he puts himself back into P5 with the inside line heading into turn 1. This looks like a fairly textbook move for Bjorkland to get himself back into the top 5, and he has done so. And Schultz will have to fight his way back, the Norwegian, over the next 7 or so laps.
Yeah, and my gosh, Aaron, kind of, whoa, and there's a big off there. Oh, bam, and that is Schultz, after driving so well, being in that fight with Bjorkland, kind of over-rotates it there out of turn 1, and that Radical not looking too good right now. We'll see if he continues, but over-rotates it there out of turn 1 and walls it to the inside. Pretty hard hit there, and I think Josh is going to pull up another look at that. But yeah, this is one of those corners, and I completely called the wrong corner. That is not where it happened. That was the first chicane there. That's 2 and 3. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of trail braking that is used around here, and you trail brake to rotate the car to take the pressure off. Whoa, and here's a little work there between Nagel. That's Nagel and Schultz battling. There's battles all up and down the field. That's Schultz from Nagel from Breilu there. Those cars all separated by just a couple of tenths and going at it hard. Looks like they are now maybe in turn 1, but I've completely lost where we are on the track.
Turn 14. Oh dear, he's gone off again.
Yeah, Schultz, that car is damaged.
Yeah.
You could see it was not tracking the way he wanted it to there, and he's off again, and more kerfuffle. Oh my goodness, and things are getting ugly quickly here. Looks like Breilu might have backed out of that, recognizing that he might have owed that position back, but ooh man, things getting messy here in week 1.
Yeah, things very, very quickly went from bad to worse. And, well, there's still time for it to get even worse, as they're still fighting going into the first few corners. And I don't think there was any hostilities between them. I just think that was just an awkward sequence of corners. As here comes Gonzaga now to get involved in the fight, albeit a lap down. But hey-ho, he can get involved if he wants to. And, well, Rudolph is just giving it everything to try and keep this place from Brilou. And, well, I do find it kind of funny that they do just battle so hard in the middle part of the lap. And then you get to the main straight and the guy will just breeze past you so easily in the slipstream. But that's racing drivers for you. You know, they just want to go racing. They don't really care if it's beneficial or not. What we're here to do, after all. As Schultz has gone into the pits, by the way. As, okay, wow, Sorensen has taken the lead. I do not know when that happened. But the Norwegian, after putting in some brilliant laps about 4 or 5 laps ago, has put himself into the top spot as we head through the last corner. Nearly 3 wide. Friedrich round the outside. Take a bow, but I think he just washed out ever so slightly in the middle part of the corner. And it's going to give Perez maybe a bit of a cheeky run if he can tuck back into the slipstream, but he can't. He's far too close to Friedrich. And this might put Sorensen actually in a wonderful position to just get the slingshot. And we are going 3 wide into turn 1. Why not? First race of the season. Send it around the outside, Lasse Sorensen. Take a hat off for the IGL Coatings, man. Absolutely brilliant stuff as Perez and Friedrich still battle for the last few podium spots. As James Barry now getting involved. He's only about a second off the lead, but Perez is the one who ended up keeping that second place, and Friedrich going from first to third. I was going to say last. God, that would have been a disastrous few corners, but he's gone from first to third in, well, a matter of seconds.
Oh, that was crazy. I'm not sure I completely tracked everything that was happening there, Aaron. I think Sorensen was up in front and then ended up in P3 and then was back up in front in this sequence that we're watching the replay of now, and an epic move around the outside. And if you're learning Mugello, remember this one. You can brake deep and you can brake late around the outside if someone tries to defend, as Sorensen shows there beautifully. And Friedrich getting the short end of the stick. And meanwhile, look who it is, last season's champ, James Barry, kind of clawing his way up out of nowhere. And with 5 laps remaining, he is within striking distance of the podium. And really, with that big slipstream on the front straight, Aaron, he's within striking distance of the win here. And he had been running, oh my gosh, let's see. It looks like he qualified in P4, but I think he was running a bit lower than that at some point during this one already.
Yeah, I think the battling on that last lap has definitely given him a bit of a helping hand. He's still got rapid pace, but is just ever so slightly about a few tenths off the guys in front of him. As here comes Perez once again for the lead of the race. I don't think Sorensen was fighting that one too hard, but he's still going to make it difficult for Perez nonetheless. Sticking his front bumper in there, but just wasn't quite close enough to make life difficult for Perez. And he will keep the lead, probably on this lap anyway. And I believe they're all just abusing their off tracks at this point. Only got 4 laps to go. They may as well try and use up some of them that they've been saving this entire time. And Friedrich's just wandering along in third place, waiting for these guys to do battle. And then he'll probably swoop on by into first once again, as James Barry is just ever so slightly falling away now. And, well, he still has a good chance, to be fair, to win this race if something terribly wrong goes for the front 3, which is not out of the question, considering they've gone 3 wide about 3 times in the last few laps. So they're taking a lot of risks, these guys, but it's very entertaining to watch, as it just looks like Sorensen just struggling ever so slightly on this lap to get the car turning in properly. I don't know if he's maybe overheated the tyres. Maybe a small lockup somewhere. Maybe he's put him in a difficult spot. Maybe some gravel as well, just getting those tyres dirty. But just noticing that, yeah, on this lap at least, he's just struggled, maybe in the dirty air of Perez's car in front. But hopefully he should get a nice slipstream on the main straight.
And taking a look back, Josh is going to show us a couple of incidents that we had previously. Looking right now at Schultz, see what happens to him. Oh, and near after Schultz doing a little off-roading inspires Bailu here. These two, oh my, more contact between Bailu and is that Kadura in the number 8 car? No, it's Rudolf Nagel, and those two have been swapping paint throughout a lot of this one. So again, a little sloppier than we normally see here.
I think the fact that Mugello is a fairly new track, like you said, I definitely think plays a bit of a part in that. And, well, we've got plenty of different tracks coming this season as Kadora is trying to go for a move around the outside of Brylu, but these corners in the first and second sector are not really overtaking opportunities unless the car in front is going very, very slowly. Yeah, just while we take a brief break, I guess, in this lap's action, just the rest of the season just looks absolutely fantastic for new and exciting tracks. Zolder, I don't think many people would have driven around recently. Snetterton as well. Phillip Island, I think, would be relatively new to some people. And Long Beach, I'm really looking forward to that on February 25th. That's going to be a fantastic race. And, well, good thing we're back ending the season at the Nordschleife as well. As much as I like Interlagos, it kind of just belongs to the Nordschleife.
Yeah, and Daytona Road Course and Long Beach, I think, are both going to be outstanding in these cars. And here we go. Here's a move. Friedrich is going to look around the outside of Sorensen to try to give him the Sorensen, and that is not going to work this time. So up front, it's Perez from Sorensen, from Friedrich, from Barry. 1 second separating all 4 of these cars. There has been some great dicing up here at the pointy end of the field in this one, for sure. And Perez starting to stretch that interval out a little bit. My goodness, quite a spread here between of lap times. We got a 1:44 at the bottom and a 1:42.4 up front with Sorensen, who definitely has the pace here at Mugello.
Yeah, he definitely looked rapid, at least in the opening stage, but these past few laps he has really been struggling to get the car turning in the way he wants it to. I mean, last lap he was nearly 0.6 of a second slower than Perez, so, and well, on this lap as well, he's lost even more time. It's just really not working for Sorensen. Maybe he really did burn those Michelin tyres in those opening few laps and is just falling back as a result. And, oh, you saw there, he nearly lost the car going through turn 12, and he's just struggling so much for grip. Friedrich trying desperately to find a way through. And, well, I'm going to be honest, the win for any one of these three has kind of gone out the window now, unless something dramatically wrong happens to Perez. But just look at the lack of grip Lasse Sorensen has. I mean, I know they added some form of debris to iRacing, but does Sorensen have a puncture or something? He really is struggling for his life out there, and is now going to get mullered by the both insert team racing cars of James Barry and Friedrich. And James Barry just swoops on by into second place, but they're going 3 wide, bit of contact between the 3 of them. But James just about gets away with it and puts himself into second place. And Friedrich, I think he should have been a little bit more aggressive there, but probably was being a bit scarce of his teammate. And look at Bjorklund now, who's right on the tail of these guys, so he has a shot at the podium as well. But Perez is well and truly gone and out of the window now. It should be in the bag for him. I promise I'm not trying to jinx him, but it very much looks very comfortable for the American. But Sorensen, wow, I'd be interested to, interview him after the race to see what's happened to him.
Yeah, and as I warned early on, Aaron, and as you could see from some of these great camera shots from Josh, there are some long, high-speed, continuous radius corners, like right here and right here, just grinds those front tires, grinds them. And there are places where you can avoid that with a little trail braking and places that you can't. And if you overdrive the car early in the race, you're going to start washing out, lose that crisp turn in, and lose a significant amount of pace. And that may be what we're seeing with Sorensen here. And if we stay with Bjorklund here for a second, you'll see another one of these corners. Just a long, slow grinding, riding that understeer, waiting to put the power down. And there's another one here at the end of the straightaway. So very, very hard track on those fronts. And this is Bjorklund again, looking forward at Friedrich, Sorensen. and Barry. And if you've got a really sharp eye, you can see Perez receding in the distance, now has increased that gap to 2.6 seconds. And here is Sorensen, wants to try the outside to put Barry back in P3, and he gets that done with relative ease. Sorensen, the master of that move here at Mugello. Holy cow.
Yeah, even seemingly with absolutely, well, balding tyres, he got that nog in him and went round the outside into turn 1, and that was beautiful. He's done that about 3 or 4 times in this race, and, well, just brilliant stuff from the Norwegian. A bit of a shame that these last few laps have been a little bit disappointing for him, but it's good things to come for Sorensen, I think, this season. If this is how he's starting off this season, showing some good pace, perhaps maybe he just needs to manage those tyres a little bit more. I think he could have a truly stellar season, but just needs to keep it together, as we've only got a few corners left to go. And I think you said at the start of the race, it's a new name to me, Perez, and it is to me as well. But, well, even though we've never heard of him before, he's just going to come and win the first race of the season.
Yeah, too right, Aaron. Perez looking good here, and as we are on the white flag lap, we're getting close to the end, and look at that 2.5 second gap. Sorensen was able to, and that pack behind was able to stick with him for a lot of this, but once that fighting started between Sorensen, Barry, Friedrich, and Bjorklund now sniffing around behind Friedrich, once that battling started, allowed Perez to drive away, and he's going to run under the starter stand right now and take that white checkered flag easily. And yeah, there's the rest of your top 5 coming across the line. And my goodness, look at that spread in lap times there. Cars about 20 seconds behind here, and this is the top split. So these drivers are having, different results and learning this new and challenging course. And very interesting and entertaining to watch that unfold.
Yeah, it really was. And oh dear, it was. I can't even speak today, can I? Benefits of being ill, but yeah, well, I think we're going to see that a lot this season. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a few tracks which I think not that many people have really given enough time of, and it's just going to make it better. We might see some names who really, somewhat in the midfield, and then come to somewhere like Snetterton, who might love the track, and they'll just pop up right at the top of the field. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that over the next 12 weeks. But it was a good way to start the season. Like you said, a bit scrappy here and there, but I mean, that's racing. And well, it was beautiful to watch, and can't wait for the coming weeks.
Yeah, me as well. And what a fantastic schedule. And really, you got to tip your hat to the Radical community branching out the schedule. It was getting a little repetitive because they were concerned about turnout, and it's really fun that they're branching out into some of these lesser known and lesser used tracks. And telling you, I cannot wait to see these things on the streets of Long Beach, going past the Long Beach Aquarium. I also cannot wait to see them on the banking at Daytona. So we have got a fantastic season in store for you here. And take a look in the interview room. We'll get your results up for you in just a second, and Aaron will run through those with you. But as it is right now, don't see anybody in the waiting room, but I'll keep an eye out while Aaron runs down those results with you.
Hopefully some drivers will be in a good enough mood to have a quick chat, as well, Diego Perez taking the first victory of the season. Maybe good things coming his way over the next few weeks. Keep a close eye on him. Lasse Sorensen as well, a driver who's been here or there the past few seasons, but seems to maybe have finally found his way in these radicals. Again, another driver to keep a very close eye on. James Barry, your previous season's champion, finishing a solid P3, and I think his consistency will just be his benefit for most of this season. His teammate Andreas Friedrich finishing just behind in 4th place. Bjorklund giving it a good go all the way until the end and finishes in 5th place. Heinz Braun ends up in 6th. Christoph Lipp in 7th place. Anderson in 8th, Crowley in 9th, Larson in 10th place, Fedora 11th, Breilu in 12th, Nagel in 13th, Hulkinen in 14th, Gonzaga 15th, Schultz 16th, and Nicole in 17th and last.
Yeah, so that is your 17-card grid, and lurking around outside, we did get 2 people that we wanted here, Aaron. So I will bring in your winner, Lasse Sorensen, and you can ask him how his front tires were feeling as that one wound down.
Oh, it was feeling good. It was, I just jumped in for fun this week, this is my 3rd race, and that's all my practice this week as well. So it was surprising. The second race I made the pole in front of Friedrich, and now I missed out a little bit, but it was a fun race, and I did pass Diego at some point, but at lap 9, 10, 11 or something, I started to get a little bit gap to Diego. I lifted a little bit in the chicane, so we had the fight all the way to the end just to have fun. So it was a nice race this time.
Well, it definitely looked like a fantastic race from your perspective. So in those last few laps, were you just struggling with the tyres? It definitely looked like a bit of a handful going through some of those higher speed corners.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of struggle at the end because you are over pushing the tires all the way, because these lap times we are doing now is like it's on the edge of what the tires and track and car can do. So I think my fastest possible one was 42.4 or something, and it's not anymore in the car. It's like it's done. So yeah, the tires get stressed and you are pushing. It's only 14 laps, so then you are pushing all the way. So that's fun.
It's kind of it is just that balance of trying to get those tires to just go the distance while setting good lap times over the course of an entire race. But I mean, judging by the pace you did have, is that a good sign for you this season? Because you did look rapid out there.
Yeah, I think it is. I've been running a lot of other cars as well, prototypes, P-Cup and GT3s, and I think just my setup feels nice now. So it's, I think it's about the setup and also my mindset, of course. But this pace so fast without practice is quite insane. So maybe I just got it this easy. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely impressive with little to no practice, considering you nearly won the damn race. So can't wait until you do actually practice. And speaking of, we've got Zolder next week on Christmas Eve. That starts on Christmas Eve. So are you going to be practicing Zolder, and potentially you can go for that win?
Yeah, I will, because I like that track very much. It's a super fun track to drive, so I'm gonna practice a bit for sure. Just to make it, because I don't do the national championship this year, so I have some more spare time to do other things. So then it's gonna be SR10s for sure, and also I think P-Cup is the combo I'm gonna drive this season.
Well, let's hope that it works out beautifully for you. And me personally, I can't wait to see what you can do over the next 12 weeks. And as always, Lasse, it's always a pleasure talking to you after these races. And before we let you go, anyone you want to give a mention or shout out to?
Yeah, definitely you guys for the broadcast. It's always awesome. And of course, Team Eagle Coatings iRacing, and our sponsors Sanne Trafikkskole and Eagle Coatings and Kenzo.
Thank you very much for the kind words. We do try our best here on Apex Racing TV. And good luck for the coming weeks, Lasse. And we hope to see you back here again on the podium, or maybe even better, sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Well, that was your winner, Lasse Sorensen. And we also have our P3 finisher here with us in the booth today, James Berry. So, James, Mugello, very, very interesting race. And this track, a fairly recent addition to the iRacing service, and I think lack of familiarity with the track manifested itself in a number of different ways. Kind of disagreement on what the right line was, breaking points, things of that nature. So how did you find racing in the Tuscany region of Italy this week?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, and I mean, definitely makes sense for this track. It's quite open to interpretation with some of the lines here. Also, you know, to maximize pace, you have to absolutely maximize track limits, so maybe people are doing that to different extents. I only bought the track yesterday, and I'd only driven it a little bit before in the Assetto Corsa, and so it was a case of just learning it as quickly as possible and kind of watching Andreas's lap guide to see what lines he takes, just to get those exits right. And clearly, I mean, the top 3 today had super pace, and I was just doing my best to hang on to them. I was trying to be as smooth as I could, and you need to get as close as you can to the inside curbs without touching them. So it was just a really tough mental battle today. Unfortunately, they battled enough that I could catch up and have a bit of fun towards the end with them.
Yeah, it's we were enjoying watching that, all the scrapping going on up front, and you just kind of went into stealth mode and snuck up on them and got yourself all the way up front there briefly. So, and do you have any comment on? There's a little bit of discussion of the debris model that's been deployed in the gravel on the track. What do you have any comment on that, or any observations about how that impacted your drive at all?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of SHIT flying around our screens now with this gravel on the track, especially at this track. There's gravel lining the whole track, and I feel I didn't notice at any point it affecting the grip too much. It's more of a visual thing where it's just flying around, and as soon as the car in front dips their tyres into the gravel, then for the next lap they've got a trail of dust blowing off the back of their car, and it's a bit bizarre to look at. But as I say, driving wise, it didn't impact us too much. I don't think it caused any big mistakes from what I could tell.
Interesting. Okay. And we were also discussing during the broadcast the upcoming schedule, and to me there's some pretty exciting stuff on there, and visiting some tracks that we haven't been to. So what are your thoughts about some of these kind of tracks that are new to the Radical, like Long Beach, the Daytona Road Course, Zolder, and a couple of the others that are going to be new to a lot of these drivers?
Yeah, you know what, I was thinking of taking a bit of a break from this season, but then I looked at the schedule and I just thought I can't miss out on these tracks. There's some super interesting tracks this season that we haven't done before, and maybe we won't do again because there's so many different tracks to vote for. And a track like this, I was expecting it to maybe not have much participation, but it's been super surprising. There's been a lot of drivers on the track. We had about 38 or so, 36 signed up today. So really happy to see that, and yeah, just super fun to come to these new tracks, because in the Radicals we get a lot of the same tracks, and so just to break it up with some of these new ones, I'm really happy to see this. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, really a strong start. A lot of times when you go off the beaten path of the kind of frequent flyer tracks and throw in a track like this, it will cause the participation to drop off. But we had 2 splits here and some pretty good racing. So really good start to the season, and congratulations on a good showing. You hung tough and did your usual James Berry, smooth, steady, and within striking distance of the win at the end. This is a place you always manage to find yourself. So congratulations on that great drive. And I know you're going to watch the broadcast later, so I hope you enjoy that. As we wrap up today, is there anyone you'd like to shout or give a anyone you'd like to shout or give a thank out to? How about that?
Yeah, well, shout out to everyone who turns up, and I'll shout out Diego for that win. Obviously, he's not been a regular, but he just turns up and puts on an amazing drive, so hats off to him.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you, James, and we will see you next week at Zolder.
Yeah, cheers. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, right on. Okay, well, that was your P2, James Berry, and thanks to James, and thanks also to Diego Perez or Lasse Sorensen rather, for coming by and speaking with us. We always like to hear driver insights, and a lot of stuff happening this season, new tracks, new potential surface effects with these gravel effects and everything. So really like to hear the driver's outlook on all of that stuff. And the iRacing schedule, or our broadcast schedule, slowing down a little bit here over the holidays. So I don't have a lot to tell you about for this weekend or next week, but it will certainly heat up in January. So make sure that you subscribe to Apex Racing TV and hit that notify icon so that you don't miss any of the action. And gosh, as we wrap up, Aaron, what are your thoughts about this schedule? What is there anything really standing out that you're looking forward to?
Mainly Long Beach, to be honest, and I don't think that's too much of a surprise. I can't remember the last time we had even a slightly narrow track on the Radical calendar, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that one paves out, but it's a bit of a shame it's in about 2 months' time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be honest, I might jump in the car after we're done here and throw a few laps down today to practice. I'm that excited about it. But all right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us for today's broadcast. We here at Apex Racing TV are super stoked to be back covering these fantastic Radical Esports Cups races. And that was week 1 of 2025. Season 1 of the Radical Esports Cup. So be sure to join us next week for more Radical action as we travel to Belgium to Circuit Zolder. It's going to be some more great racing, maybe an unfamiliar track, maybe a little bumping and grinding like we saw today. So be sure and join us for that. And meantime, I am J.R. Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner Aaron Smith, our producer Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at Apex Racing TV, have a great Friday and an even better weekend.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.